everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review. And for today's review, we're going to take a look at the new DC Collectibles 6-inch scale, the new Batman Adventures Roxy Rocket figure set. Now this is a deluxe figure set. It comes with the basic 6-inch figure and then also comes with her flying rocket that she's seen using in the cartoon. So this comes in the same kind of style of window box packaging that we see with the other Batman New Adventure figures, only obviously it's a bit bigger since it's got the rocket in it. The figure and the rocket are both clearly displayed. You've got that Batman the New Adventures image in the background with Batman, Robin, and Nightwing. Off to the side it's got the name of the character, and it tells us that this is figure number 17 in the series. And then on the very side it tells us the figure was sculpted by Irene Mattar. And then on the back we again have that image of Batman, Nightwing, and Robin. Okay, so let's get this open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's a look at the figure and its contents outside of the packaging. So real quick, we'll look at the accessories that come with this one. So she comes with a regular figure stand like we see with all the figures in this line, with the white base that has the turnaround images of the character, has the clear clamp arm that you can do up and down, and you can extend it forward and backwards. She comes with some episode-specific stuff based on, basically she only appeared in one episode of the Batman cartoon called The Ultimate Thrill. And in that episode we discover she's basically an ex-stunt movie person who starts looking for a bigger thrill in life by robbing and stealing stuff. And eventually, you know, the ultimate thrill of taking on the Batman. Now, in the beginning, she's working with the Penguin, who's her fence, basically, but because she keeps antagonizing Batman, trying to seek out that bigger thrill, that brings unwanted attention to the Penguin's operation. So the Penguin doesn't really like that, tells her to stop, she doesn't, so then the Penguin decides to try and have her killed, and fails, of course, but eventually Batman does stop her. Now, she did also have a brief appearance in one episode of the Superman animated series, for, you know, all about 3 minutes in that beginning of that episode. So anyway, we'll look at the rocket in more detail in a minute, but other basic accessories she comes with is she comes with this large wrench, which is just a gray color, and it's just something that she, you know, picks up briefly in the episode. She also comes with her ray gun, and I guess this is her signature weapon. You know, pretty nice detailing, looks pretty much like what we see in the cartoons. Got some red and light blue colors along with just basic gray, and she holds it in her hand pretty good. She also comes with this flare gun that she uses. Basically, she launches a flare to kind of simulate the bat symbol to attract Batman. So the flare actually is removable, and you can see the little bat symbol on the front of it, and then the gun is just a basic gray. Then finally, like with all the figures we see in the line, she comes with 3 different pairs of hands. So she's got closed-fisted hands, she's got a pair of open hands for gripping like the handles of the rocket, and then she comes with a pair of hands, one for holding her gun or the flare gun, and then just the other hand is just completely open. Now for the rocket itself, the rocket is pretty basic. It's just a solid piece of plastic. We've got the handlebars sculpted on, and we've got some controls and a throttle, and the seat are all sculpted on the top. You know, there's no moving parts really to this. It's just all a solid piece. The stuff on the top, you know, isn't workable or anything. Not a whole lot of detail. The controls are kind of just a light gray plastic, and the rest of the rocket's a darker plastic, and then like the wings and the handlebar and the throttle are darker plastic, and as well as the tip on the end. But it pretty much looks like what we saw in the cartoon. Now the rocket does actually have a light up feature. It requires 2 watch batteries, which are not included, so probably not something you're going to have just necessarily lying around, but they do come with or basically I had to run up to my local grocery store and pick up a pair, but it's basically 1.5 volt, and they list in the they give you a little instruction sheet to show you how to put the batteries in and everything. They list the batteries as an LR44, but the actual batteries I found that fit into it are listed as 357, but it's a 1.5 volt, and it takes 2 of them, and basically you just you unscrew the little bottom and you put the batteries in here, and screw the bottom on. And then if you want to activate the light, you just turn the this little gray piece on the back, the engine part, and it lights up. And it's nothing major, it's just the jet thrust on the back. That's the only thing that lights up. The rocket also comes with this clear plastic stand. It kind of puts the rocket at an angle, and you really want to get it to so the front of the rocket is pointing upwards. Now it's not very big, it doesn't lift the rocket very high off the ground, and Roxy, actually you can have her feet touching if you want, but if you want to bend her knees, then it looks like she's kind of flying. And Roxy for the most part sits on the rocket pretty good. Her butt doesn't get all the way down, but pretty close. And like I said, if you're using the stand and you don't want her legs to touch the ground, then you have to kind of bend her knees. Okay, so for the figure itself, I think the figure comes out looking pretty nice. It's probably the nicest looking female figure that they've done for the new Batman Adventures line. I think the head is better proportioned than we've seen with the other female figures in this line, and the overall body sculpt looks pretty true to what we see in the cartoon. So she's got these clear plastic goggles sculpted, or they're attached over her eyes. I think they're just glued on there, but they're not removable. And she's got basically she wears this hood that covers most of her head, but she's got her hair that comes out the back, and it's just a hard plastic. Not a lot of paint detail, it's just kind of a reddish color, pretty much like we see with the other figures in the line. And she's got this leather coat that she wears, and it's just brown, and then it's got the kind of yellowish fur collar. And she has a gun belt. Unfortunately, the gun belt's not workable. You can't actually put her gun in the gun belt. That would have been nice if they'd made this a workable gun belt. The gun belt is a loose, it's separate from the figure, but it's not removable, so it fits loosely on the figure. And doesn't really limit her movement of her legs too much, so that's nice. But again, I would have liked if they had made the gun belt working so you could put her little ray gun thing in there. And then she's basically just got dark, almost black colored pants and brown boots. So basic paint applications, but overall the sculpt on this is pretty nice. Now I will say that her knees, the joints, and we'll look at this when we look at articulation, but the knee joints are very loose on my figure, so that's something to be wary of. So the figure stands at about 5.5 inches tall. And here she is next to the New Adventures Batman figure, and you can see Batman is definitely taller. So scale seems to be pretty good with this figure. Articulation on this figure is pretty much on par with what we've seen with other figures in the line. Head's on a ball joint, so she can look left and right. Hair limits a little bit, but not too much. You can basically move her hair over her shoulders, so she can still look left and right pretty good. No real up or down movement with the head. Arms are attached with your standard ball hinge joints, but with the way the shoulders are sculpted, that's about as much out as she can get her arm. She does have good rotation at the arm. She's got the single hinged elbow, so she can bend her elbow about that much. She does have swivels at the elbow, swivels at the wrist, and she has hinges on the hands, so she's got good up and down movement with the hands. She does have a waist swivel, and then she's got that standard T-cross or side joint that we see with all the legs on this, so she can do the splits pretty good, and she can get her leg forward good, and she can do her leg back pretty good. Single hinged knee, so she can bend her knee about that much. No swivel at the knee. She does have a boot cuff swivel, and then she has some up and down movement with her foot, and she does have ankle pivot. And then no peg holes on the bottom of her feet. Okay, so that's my review. Overall, I think this is a nice looking figure. Now, again, as I mentioned before, the joints on my figure are really loose on the knees, so she has a very hard time standing up on her own. I don't know if they made the joints so loose for some reason for her to sit on the rocket, but as it is, the joints are really loose on the knees. So that's, it could be just with mine, but I've heard other people having similar problems with the loose knee joints. So, like I said, it may be something common across the board with this figure. Now, if you're going to have her sitting on the rocket, it's not a major deal, but if you're going to have her standing on her own, you're probably going to need the figure stand with this one. The rocket itself, it's a nice little added feature. The light up is, it doesn't add a whole lot to this one. It's not like the Batmobile where, it really gives you a cool effect and everything. You just get the little light on the back jet. And the fact that you have to go out and probably buy, since the batteries aren't included and it does take unique watch batteries, that's kind of a pain. It would have been nice if they included a pair of batteries with this one. But if you're a fan of the character, then I think this is one that you're going to want to add to your collection. Or if you're a completist, then again, I think it's going to be one that you add to the collection. Otherwise, this is probably one you could probably pass on. Like I said, she wasn't a very major character in the overall animated series universe. She basically just appeared in one episode. So, like I said, if you're not a fan of the character, then this is one that's probably, I would say, you could pass on. It's going to, since it's a deluxe figure, since it comes with the rocket, it's going to cost you probably about $40. Now, this is out at comic and specialty shops now. We'll have a full gallery of images up at toynewseye.com. There's a link in the description below. And as always, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. And until next time, I'll catch you later.